Hi everyone, Matt Watson here. So this is the new Lotus Eヴaiyya, and I've got a bit of an exclusive for you today because this is the factory it's going to be built at Lotus's headquarters in Norfolk. Also, not many people have seen it driving. I never have, and here it is, driving. Actually, it's driving away from me. Wait a minute, stop! I've got to do a video on this. Where's it going? The Eヴaiyya is the first Lotus road car to feature a carbon fibre monocoque chassis, and it's actually built using the same technology used on Formula One cars to make it light, strong, safe and very, very stiff. Also, the carbon fibre tub actually stretches the full length of the car, and it's the longest single piece of carbon fibre fitted to any road car ever, yet it weighs just 129 kilograms. One of the Eヴaiyya's key features are its Venturi Tunnels. Now these are derived from motorsport. You see, if you're going very, very fast, you end up with a vacuum at the back of the car, and that causes drag. It pulls the car back and stops it maxing out its top speed. Whereas if you allow air to flow through there, it fills that void and allows the car to just slip through the air and go super quick. On internal combustion engine cars, normally you'd have fans and radiators in there, but on this, because it's electric, you don't, so it's completely hollow. Now I'd like to illustrate that with the carwow stick of truth, but Lotus wouldn't let me poke this new car with a stick, so they gave me a cloth. Behold the carwow cloth of truth. Check this out. See, completely hollow. There are some vents though in here, just all the way in there, little shark gills, and they relieve pressure from the wheel arches to help the car stick down onto the road. You might be wondering, where the heck are the door mirrors? How are you supposed to see behind you? Well, let's face it, door mirrors look ugly. So instead, this Eヴaiyya has poppy-outy rear view cameras. Look at this. This is far more aerodynamic than some big door mirror. Look at that. Also, the reversing camera is actually on the roof, and you can just view it in a screen that's in the place of the rear view mirror. There are only two pieces of active aerodynamics on the Eヴaiyya, so you have an active rear wing and some DRS flaps, that stands for drag reduction system. So at the moment the car is in its most aerodynamic form for high speed runs, but the wing and the flaps can raise to increase the downforce to help suck you down the road for improved cornering. And as you're driving along, it can actually manage that as well, depending on what you need. Here at the front, there's absolutely loads of passive aero going on. So look at the intricacy of the design of these wings. There's one, two, and there's a third one even inside here. I really like the fact that they've put the radiators at the front horizontal rather than vertical like you'd need on an internal combustion engine car. Obviously, being an electric car, it doesn't need so much cooling. That's a really nice thing. I mean, all this is designed to make sure the air just flows through or under and over the car as smooth as possible. There is no need for the carwow stick of truth on the Eヴaiyya at all. I mean, everything, look, every vent just serves a purpose. I don't know if you've noticed, but there is not a windscreen wiper on this car. Now it does come with one, but you can remove it. Normally it's fixed in there, but let's say you go on a track day or you live in Dubai, like quite a few owners probably will do, then you can just remove it. One of my favourite features of this car are the tail lamps. Look at that. So they're designed to mimic the afterburners of a fighter jet. Also, I like this, look how Lotus is illuminated here. Now, when the car goes into production, that won't be possible, it's not legal. You will still have Lotus illuminated on the battery pack though. However, somehow, Lotus have managed to negotiate with the authorities that the T can actually illuminate to act as the reversing light, which is pretty blooming amazing. I can't believe they got away with that, but they have. And I think it's great. There are some of the rules that this car has to follow to be able to go on the road. So for instance, you have a fog light, which is there, which looks like the rain light on a racing car. And then there's the high level brake light that you have to have as well. But what happens when the rear wing goes up? You're not gonna be able to see that. Well, they've thought about that. To make sure this car complies with all the regulations, you then have a light here which illuminates. All perfectly road legal. Everyone knows it's a given rule of hypercars that you just can't have normal boring doors. There has to be some kind of showpiece to get into them. As a result, the Eヴaiyya has dihedral doors. You might be thinking, they're moving pretty slowly. That's because this is a show car. It's not finished. The real car's doors will open and close much quicker than this. In fact, we can use some camera trickery to show you exactly what that'll look like now. Tell you the truth though, one customer who's actually bought one of these says he liked the slow moving doors, it like added to the theatre. I think I prefer them going quickly. Here on the inside, the Evija just looks super modern and really, really well built with lovely materials such as leather up here and Alcantara up here and carbon fibre exposed everywhere. One of the things that really stands out is the dash design. So rather than being like a full dash, it's more of a beam, and here is just space. Reason being that space adds lightness, and adding lightness is Lotus founder Colin Chapman's ethos. You can increase a car's performance by removing weight from it, and that's exactly what this dash does. Colin Chapman always had a thing as well about making sure that components always do a job. So the dash isn't just there for show and to hang things off, it provides structural rigidity to the body as well. You get a steering wheel just like a Ferrari, and it's trimmed in Alcantara so it feels lovely, and then there's your deadhead stripe in the top, and all the functions are on the steering wheel as well, such as your indicators, your lights, your windscreen wiper, your phone operation, just like a racing car, and also just like a Ferrari, just saying. Now if you need to change the position, you can actually alter the steering column for reach and height, so practical too. The Evija is fitted with some absolutely gorgeous carbon fibre sport seats, and they have Alcantara padding on them, and they are quite firm. They definitely hold your body in place. Yeah, really nice. I like this feature as well. Look, there's a metal strip just runs through the centre of the seat which says "for the drivers." I think quite a few of these cars will actually be for the collectors. Probably notice this as well. Look, ambient lighting, how very de rigueur. Normally with electric cars, the battery packs are flat in the floor and run the length of the car, a bit like a skateboard, but Lotus haven't done that. Instead, they stacked it vertically behind the seat. Now that's not quite so good for lowering your centre of gravity, but there are benefits for it, and there's three of them actually. So the first is, it means that it's mid-mounted, which is perfect for a performance car. Then there's the fact it makes it easier for technicians to work on. And the third thing is, it also allows them to actually swap the battery packs out if they want to, if there's new technology that comes along. Another good thing about this battery is that it is the most energy dense battery fitted to any road car. It can deliver 2,000 kilowatts of power. The Evija has 4 electric motors, and they're just behind each wheel, and each motor can deliver 500 horsepower, which is actually more power than any Lotus road car to date. And when you add them all together, you then get 2,000 horsepower. That makes this the most powerful road car ever made. You've also got 1,700 Newton meters of torque, so plenty of pulling power as well. And because you've got a motor for each wheel, you have pure torque vectoring, so they can overspeed or underspeed any wheel they want to for optimum cornering. Should be impressive. All right, it's time to talk about the stats. So I'm going to talk in kilometers an hour because it'll just make more sense for the numbers I'm going to give you. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour under 3 seconds. That's not important though. 0 to 300 kilometers an hour under 9 seconds. And this car can actually go from 100 kilometers an hour to 200 kilometers an hour in just 3 seconds. So it's all about that mid-range pulling power. It's insane on this car. Top speed is over 320 kilometers, and if you want that in old money, that's more than 200 miles an hour. Now, one of the problems with electric cars is that if you drive them flat out, their batteries get too hot and then they lose power. With this, they've managed the thermodynamics of the battery so that you can just cane it non-stop and it will give you full power, well, until you run out of electricity. Other cars' major functions, such as the satellite navigation and things like managing the battery and stuff, is done through this screen. And obviously you've got your driving display there and your digital dials and all that kind of stuff. And this displays exactly how it will be on the finished production car. It's very, very high def screen actually. Now you can control it using this swivel wheel, a bit like BMW's iDrive. Also, you've got some other features which are actual physical buttons. When I say physical, they're not quite. There are touch sensitive buttons where you have haptic feedback, so it vibrates when you pressed it. If that's still not good enough for you, you can actually program them to make a certain noise when you press them, so you know which one you're pressing. Down here as well, you have your gear selections down there, so basically you haven't got any gears, have you really? So it's just drive, reverse, or neutral, and then there's your start button there, and then the switches for the windows. You also have climate control, of course, and a high-performance stereo. And in case you're wondering, yes, there is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto for the infotainment system. Lotuses are famous for having brilliant steering feel. So to try and ensure that this car is the same as Lotuses before it, rather than having a pure electric steering rack, it has an electro-hydraulic system, so you should get a bit more feel for this steering wheel than you normally would. Also on the steering wheel, you have your different driving modes, and there's 5 of them: Eco, City, Tour, sport and track, and as you move from left to right with that dial, you increase the power of the car, and it goes all the way from lower down to your full fat 2,000 horsepower. I think I might just be driving everywhere in track, if it were me. As you go through those driving modes, you also can alter the stiffness of the suspension because it's adaptive, but the suspension is a little bit different. For starters, look, it's actually in there. It's inboard, and that helps with your centre of gravity. It also helps with the aero, keeps the car nice and compact. But you'll probably see there's actually 3 dampers, 2 springs, but 3 dampers. Why is that? Well, it's because a third damper actually stops something called heave, which between you and me means it stops the car like dipping and pitching when you accelerate or brake. And you have the same setup pretty much at the front as well. The Evaiyas wheels are made out of magnesium because that helps keep the weight down. You have less unsprung mass, which improves the dynamics. And they're 20 inches at the front, 21s at the back, and they have centre locking nuts, just like on racing cars. And I really love the design of that. It's very, very cool. You also get carbon ceramic brakes all round. Also, the tyres have been specifically developed by Pirelli for this car. The P0 Trofeo Rs with a very, very sticky compound. The battery pack on this car accounts for about 35% of its 1,680 kilogram weight. So it's a 70 kilowatt hour battery, which will give you a range of around 250 miles. And to charge it, you actually just press a button and it opens this flap here, which is all rather neat, and you're greeted by a little sign that says hand built in Britain by Lotus. Kind of makes me proud. Now, to charge this thing, you can actually do it at 800 kilowatts, which is insane, and it'll actually charge the battery, if you do it at that rate, in less than 10 minutes, though you might struggle to find a charger. It can charge at 350 kilowatts in about 20 minutes, but yet again, you may struggle to find a charger. If you can find a 150 kilowatt hour battery charger, then it will do it in less than 50 minutes. It's not just the performance of this car which is groundbreaking, so too are its headlights. So you've got laser lights. Now, that's nothing new. Audi's done it, BMW's done it, but no one before has done laser lights on both your main beam and your high beam, but this Lotus can. It even says Lotus laser lights in there, which is quite cool. So is the little fan that keeps them cool. Too many calls. Anyway, so the range of these lights, 600 meters. Though I think that's because you're only ever allowed to have lights which can shine 600 meters on the road. You can get an app for this car. Well, of course you can. You know, it's supposed to be high-tech and modern. And you can do things like locate the car, you can lock it remotely, you can set things like the temperature so it's the right temperature when you get in it. You can also store all your lap times on there as well, so you can show them to your friends while you're in the pub. All right, let's get down to the vulgar topic of money. So the Lotus Evaiyya will cost £2 million with taxes, though if you're rich enough to be able to afford one of these, you're rich enough to figure out how not to pay the tax on it. If you want to order one, you have to put down a £250, you wish, £250,000 deposit. Everyone was logging onto the computer going, Group Lotus, I'll have one of those. £250,000 deposit, and already people have done that. There's only going to be 130 made, so if you're rich enough and you're watching this, get a move on, they will be sold out. This is going to be a collector's car, that's for sure. It's also going to spawn a load of other electrified Lotus sports cars, some of which will be a bit more affordable. So this car has been made possible by the fact that there's been lots of investment from Lotus's new owner, Chinese company Geely. However, it's been designed in the UK, it's been tested in the UK, and it will be built here in this very facility that I'm standing in Norfolk. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Now, if you'd like to see me go for a passenger ride in it, or better still, actually drive this thing, then let me know in the comments box below, okay? Because I'll be able to show all those comments to Lotus and insist that I get a go in this car. Also, give the video a like, because it'll help it rank and will impress Lotus, and so they'll have to let me have a drive in it. Now, if you want to see some more videos, click on the boxes below.